When I was a kid, I was obsessed with starting businesses. When I was 8 years old, I prided myself on what I thought to be was the best lemonade stand in the entire neighborhood. I had several different flavors of lemonade, a variety of baked goods, and I was pretty spunky as a kid. So I had employees, and I had an employee contract that everyone had to sign, and in that contract they had to agree to a set amount of pay, which was 50 cents an hour, and they had to agree that they had to do everything that I said or else they would be fired. I'm pretty sure my mom still has this contract in her filing cabinet to remind me of how far I've come in business. But then when I was 9, I started my first official business. I had a business card for Rake 'em Up Leaves. I was licensed, bonded, and insured by my parents, and I had a catchphrase, which was, "You will say wow." Now, fast forward throughout the years, I started many more businesses. I ran a chocolate business, I had a juice business, I ran 3 successful craft shows in the Baton Rouge area. I was always creating something. To put it simply, by the time I graduated high school, I had started 7 pages on Facebook for the different businesses that I had started. I've always felt like I was meant to create something big, but obviously by my track record, I used to have no idea what I wanted to do. So I've done a lot of discovery over the years to discover what it is that I'm truly passionate about and what skills I have to offer the world. So when my friend asked me the other day what legacy I want to leave when I die, I was both inspired and challenged to answer that question. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it took me quite a while to come up with a few words that really communicate the legacy that I want to leave. But to put it simply, when I die, I want my grave to read, "She cared for people and their dreams." And over the next few minutes, I'm gonna take you on a journey to discovering why I believe those few words wrap up the legacy that I want to leave. So first of all, we're gonna look at the word legacy, because in order to understand the legacy that I want to leave, it's important that we both have the same understanding of what that word means. And then I'm gonna get real with you, and we're gonna talk about the legacy that I want to leave. And then I'm so excited to share with you what I'm doing today to leave that legacy. But let's first start by establishing what a legacy is. My favorite definition of the term legacy is from the Hamilton play, which says, "A legacy is planting seeds in a garden that you never get to see grow." The concept of a legacy is that you put in the hard work now, you work hard today, knowing very well that you may never get to see the impact that your work will eventually have. And when I think of legacy, I think of world changers and history makers. Specifically, my role model growing up was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs knew when he came up with the idea for Apple that he was going to change the world for the better. And he worked so hard to live up to that legacy. He was driven by the legacy that he was leaving. But then if you look at history makers like Barack Obama, when he was elected the first Black president of the United States, he left an incredible legacy, and he lived his life worthy of that legacy. But you don't have to be a world changer or a history maker in order to leave a powerful legacy. I instantly thought of my dear friend Joe Mannion when I was coming up with the words to say surrounding the word legacy. Joe Mannion was a dear friend of mine growing up. He was like a brother to me, and he was like a son to my parents. And he left this world far too soon. I was about 10 years old when he passed away, and still to this day, I remember how I felt hearing the news that he had gone, because he had made such an impact on the people he loved. So you can be driven by leaving a legacy, even if it doesn't mean that you want to change the world or make history. For me personally, I am so driven by the idea that my life here will impact people so greatly that the work I'm doing now still continues, that the lessons I learned while I was here are still being taught, and that the people I love still know it. And that's why I'm so excited to talk about the legacy that I feel like I want to leave on this earth. And in order to do that properly, I think it's important to pick up where we left off in the story of starting these businesses when I grew up. So when I was about 12 years old, my mom decided to sign me up for speech and debate. And at 12 years old, I absolutely did not want to do this. So I used every form of persuasion that I knew at the time, which pretty much was just throwing a fit. And because that's not a very great form of persuasion, my mom won that argument and signed me up for speech and debate. But much to my surprise, I fell in love with it after the first tournament. So I just signed up for debate the next year, and at 13 years old, I was trying to debate the United States policies with Russia. And let me be honest, I was not the sharpest tool in the shed by any stretch of the imagination. So I had to work really, really, really hard to learn how to be a great communicator. But year after year, I got a little bit better and a little bit better. And about 5 years into it, I started realizing that there was more to communication than just presenting a case or defending an argument. That communication was about connecting with other humans. So that year I decided to run an experiment. I decided that every time I had the opportunity to speak in front of an audience, that my goal was going to make sure that everyone in that room felt valued and that I opened their eyes to something new because of the words that I used in my presentation. That year, after my experiment, I won my first national championship title. So obviously something was working. So the next year I decided to dive even deeper. I studied Aristotle's teachings on rhetoric to learn more about how communication and human connection go hand in hand. And that year, I won my second national championship title. And I had the opportunity to speak in front of 1,500 people, ironically, on the topic of legacy. And I can tell you that before I gave that presentation, I was so nervous, more nervous than I have ever been in my entire life. I remember standing behind stage and not being able to decide if I was going to throw up or pass out. I seriously thought there was no way I was going to make it through that presentation. But when I stood up on stage and saw 1,500 people that I had the opportunity to impact, that I had the opportunity to connect with, a wave of peace went through my entire body. And it was like a voice from inside of me, louder than I had ever heard before, said, "This is the legacy that you are going to leave." There have been a lot of defining moments since then that have helped me focus my passion. But another one that comes to mind is when I was visiting Austin, Texas, and I attended a tech breakfast. This was a breakfast where tech entrepreneurs had the ability to share their ideas in the products that they were working on. And one entrepreneur stood out in my mind particularly. He supposedly had a really great idea for artificial intelligence, but he didn't make much effort at all to connect with his audience. He uses phrases that were industry specific and went way over my head. In the end, the only thing that the audience learned about this artificial intelligence was that it could order you pizza. Not very inspiring, to say the least. But it was in that moment that my life motto came about, which was communication should never get in the way of achieving your dreams. Because I realized that for this tech entrepreneur, his inability to talk about what he was passionate about might not only prevent him from achieving his dreams, but might prevent an innovative technology from reaching consumers. And it's okay if finances and funding get in the way of you not being able to work towards your projects, and maybe it has to do with not being the right time in life, but it is my goal and my passion to make sure that the reason why people don't achieve their dreams is not because they couldn't talk about it. So to bring things full circle, that is the legacy I want to leave. I want to teach as many people as possible how to be better communicators, because when they are better communicators, they connect to humans at a deeper level and their dreams are more reachable. And the only thing better than reaching your own dreams is helping somebody else reach theirs. So I'm very excited to share with you what I'm doing today to pursue this legacy, and that is legacy consulting. I created this company as a constant reminder of what I'm working towards, which is to help as many people, organizations, individuals, or CEOs learn how to connect with their audiences better. And I can do this by either coming into your organization and crafting a powerful message about your brand and representing that brand for you, or I can work with your teams and with your staff to give them the tools to be better communicators and to connect with their audiences. I am so excited about everybody I've gotten to coach so far about how to be better communicators, and I cannot wait to see who I get to connect with in the future. So, it's real simple. Help me leave my legacy by letting me help you leave yours. Thank you.